Travel nursing can bring you to places you've never been before. Tell us your story.
Hi, it's Rita at the Travel Nurse Channel, and today is Tuesday, the 17th of November. I hope everybody is well. I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. usually, and let's see, I want to make sure you can reach me if you'd like to via Facebook. You can reach me anytime by calling the 800 number, 800-737-6518. But you can speak to me by sending your message via Facebook, and we can communicate right now. I'm here for anybody doing travel assignments. We call it the Travel Nurse Channel because a lot of nurses travel, but many other healthcare workers are in need and travel as well. So we are sort of a home away from home for those that travel, talking about all things healthcare, all things travel related. And I'm also here for those that need those nurses and allied staff at their long-term facilities and acute hospitals and clinics and surgery centers and oncology and hospice and home health, etc. So we are this meeting place for all of the above. Let's see if I can straighten out my glasses. Or is it my head that's crooked? Maybe it's my head. So today I thought I'd talk about, we kind of circle around a lot of subjects, and if you're a travel nurse, it makes a lot of sense to you. If you're a travel therapist or tech, or anybody in the healthcare field, LVNs, CNAs, PAs, NPs, RTs, etc., then you know all about what it takes to become a traveler. I'll give you a quick rundown. If you haven't done it and you're interested in doing it, it's not that complicated, but knowing where to do and what to begin, how to begin, and what to do to get started is very, very helpful. So you want to update your profile. So you want all your skills and work experience on there. And it's okay if you've only been working under your license for a year or two. That's fine. It could be your opportunity to travel. When you do that profile, be sure to include a lot of what you did while you were working towards that BS degree, that nursing license, that certificate if you're a OT or a whatever therapy or a technical area that you work in. Be sure to include some of the work you did while you're working towards that. And then, of course, all of your work experience under your credentials. So update that profile. That's important. Do a little research. There are well over 300 companies that do travel nursing in the United States, and there are companies that do it abroad as well. But I focus mostly on the United States because that's what I'm most familiar with. So update your profile. Make sure you have good clinical references, not just somebody that observed you for a month or two, but somebody that can cover at least a year of your experience. That's going to be helpful. And then you want to, because there are so many companies, find out which ones seem to meet your needs. There are larger companies, smaller companies, and one or the other may work well for you. If you're interested, for example, on traveling to the city of Chicago, find out what the hospitals in Chicago and the areas that you want to visit, who they use as their travel, their preferred travel company. More than likely, they'll work with more than one company, so that can be a great advantage to you. You have companies to choose from. What else do you need to know? Oh, you know, I think this is a question that a lot of travelers have, and that is, how do I get the tax benefits? Well, you can. You just need to know what you don't know. What you need to know is what you don't know. Okay, so you have a tax home. So there's a place where you are taxed. Say you're working right now in Baltimore. You live in Baltimore, and you have a job at a hospital or a skilled facility, wherever you work, a doctor's office, whatever. And you know, you've been working there for a year, maybe a year and a half, and so forth. That's your tax home. That's where you earn your income and you pay your taxes annually, right? We're not talking about, you know, sales tax and so forth. We're talking about income tax. So if you're about to travel and you're going to travel out of Baltimore, say you're going to Chicago, or say you're going to California, to Los Angeles, lots and lots of needs in Los Angeles, and probably a little more sunshine if you're traveling in the winter. So when you travel, of course, your salary, that's income, and you will be taxed on that. But the money you need to get to Los Angeles from Baltimore, the money you need to get around in Los Angeles, whether you rent a car or you use buses and trains, you need some of that money, and that will be non-taxed. Where you're going to live, are you going to take a stipend for the housing and rent your own Airbnb or whatever, or are you going to stay in an extended America or some kind of accommodation that your travel company can provide you with? So there's a variety of ways to do it, but all of those monies, that relocation, the travel stipend to get there, you know, whether you're taking a bus, a train, or a plane, maybe a car allowance while you're there, all of those stipends are tax-free. So that is kind of an attractive advantage for traveling too. And then, you know, what I think is really important and to keep in mind when you're traveling, I got a couple of computers going here, is determine what's most important to you. Because in any negotiation, I mean, there's some things that the hospital absolutely has to have, and then there's some things you absolutely have to have. And so it's the travel company's job to kind of find that balance where it's really working for you and it's really working for the customer, which is the hospital or the long-term facility or whatever health organization it will be. So they absolutely need somebody that will flex to the telemetry unit and the med-surg unit or the ICU, and 2 or 3 different ICUs. They want you to flex to all 3 as needed. They definitely want you on nights. So that's what they need. They need you to have a year experience. They need you to work nights. They need you to flex to 2 or 3 different ICUs, and they need you for 13 weeks. That's what the hospital needs. What do you need? If you're okay with flexing to those 2 or 3 units, great. If you're okay with working primarily nights, maybe you're accustomed to it, maybe that's your preferred shift, great. What else did they say they need? The 1-year experience. Maybe you only have 10 months of experience, but you're applying for a job in, let's see, it's November right now. Say you're applying for a job in April. Well, by April, you will have 12 months. So that shouldn't stop you from sending in your profile and getting the travel paperwork started, because you will have it by April. You have the rest of this month, and December, January, February, and March. You have 4 more months. You'll have more than a year by the time April rolls around. So you're in good shape to travel. If they're requiring 1 year and you're at 10 months in November, you will have 14 months by the time April rolls around. So that's a good thing. The tax, figuring out your tax home is a great thing. And then the money you earn, that is your salary, is taxed, but all of these other pieces, the housing stipend and the travel stipend and maybe the car allowance, etc., the travel allowance and so forth, a lot of those things will not be taxed. So that's pretty exciting for most of us that are paying taxes all the time and working hard at our regular jobs. It's, you know, there are benefits to working a regular job, but those opportunities just aren't there. So very, very important to determine what you want. The hospital knows what it's want. And then maybe there's a couple of places where you can both flex, you know. Let's see. What else do I need to know? Get the experience. You need to know that. Your license. Oh, your license. Most often, your recruiting company can help you with getting a license. So you work in Baltimore, you've lived in Baltimore for a long time, you have your nursing license or your respiratory therapy license or your whatever it is that you do, your CT scanning certificate and so forth. So you have those things in your state of Baltimore, but you're not sure how to get it as quickly as you need it in November for April. You've got a few months. You've got about 5 months. December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, about 5 months. Your recruiter usually can help you with that, or your recruiting company can help you with that. But generally, I know for nurses, you go to the Department of Health, the Board of Registered Nurses through the Department of Health of that state, and apply for it. But if you talk to your recruiter, they may have some inroads that can speed up the process for you. And generally, when you're applying for a travel license, you won't always need it for years and years and years. But it does behoove you to get it for about a year, because if you extend, and that is a big part of today's discussion, is wrangling a contract that works for you, and how easy and how advantageous is it to extend a contract once you've traveled. Lots of good news there. So we'll get to that in a minute. But at any rate, traditionally, I'm thinking when you apply for a temporary license in another state, I think it's good for about a year. Whereas in most states, it's good for 2 years or more. So talk to your recruiter about that, or talk to the Board of Registered Nurses, or whoever your credentialing person is in your state may be able to direct you to where to go in the next state. But certainly the travel company and the recruiters at the travel company can be a big help with that. In these special times with the COVID virus still weighing down on so many of us, they've made some what I want to say, they've given some leeway to getting those licenses moved quicker. So depending on what state you're going to and so forth, it may be easier than you think. I'm going to take a sip of my tea because I talk so much. I get very dry. Okay. So those are some of the things. Know what you want, know what the hospital wants, see where you can flex with your recruiter. Something for you, like I'm a little older. I would not want to work 3 12-hour shifts in a row. And so that would be the hill that I would die on. I would say, I'm willing to work every other day. I'm willing to work 2 shifts in a row, but that's an issue for me. And the hospital may say, nope, no good. Sometimes our nurses work 4 in a row, and then that wouldn't be the match for me. But if that's something that's important to you, for your well-being and your health, you're going to be there for a quarter of the year, right? Most travel assignments are 13 weeks, and so that's 90 days. And that's not quite a year, is it? Let me see. 90 days. Yeah. 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 months in a year. Yeah, that's a quarter of the year. You're going to travel to somewhere else, and in the past year that you did your best work when you worked every other day or 2 in a row, 1 off, and so forth. But the 3 in a row really didn't work for you. You couldn't get the rest you needed. You couldn't unwind the way you needed to. So know what you need and know where you can flex. You're okay with flexing to tele and ICU, or you're okay with flexing to medical ICU and surgical ICU and neuro ICU and cardiac ICU. If you're comfortable in that realm and that's part of your experience base, that should work for you. Many hospitals require flexing, or what is that? Is another word for flexing, but floating to different units. So be sure that you're going to be safe in the units that they require you to float to. And if it's maybe telemetry ICU in the emergency room, that may not work if you don't have emergency room background. But if it's ICU and cardiac ICU and medical ICU and neuro ICU, and you have that background and you're flushing it, that's going to be fine for you to flex there. Maybe even telemetry, high-level telemetry works for you. So know what you want, because it's out there for the getting. But if you don't ask for it, then you may have some unpleasant surprises. So now we're going to move on to the topic of today. But I thought I'd review, if you're new to traveling, what it takes to travel. I thought that'd be a good idea. So, I want to tell you too, I get my information, do my research in about a half a dozen places. Sometimes I just wing it, and I land on a site and it's just got great information, like a blog or something like that where people tell stories. But I do get a lot of information from the Center for Disease Control. I get a lot of information from WHO, World Health Organization. I found a site for travel nurses called the Blue Pipes, and that's another great place for you to go and look at, particularly if you're new to travel and you have a lot of questions. You could just click on them and read their blog, read about the jobs they may have, and then they direct you on Blue Pipes to a lot of alternate places to find information.
I don't think you're live.
I'm not live? I think I am. It says live.
Yeah, but are you on Facebook?
I think so. Okay, here comes my tech. He thinks I'm not live. Sure. Right there, live.
How come I'm not getting it?
You were live. Do you want me to start over?
Yeah, you're not. I'm not seeing you on here.